Hey everyone, welcome to April. It's hard to believe that it is April. It's Easter weekend, and I thought I'd give you this report as to what went on in the month of March in the real estate market around Calgary. You'll also notice, by the way, I have a new website. It's awesome. It's probably one of the best websites for searching for homes. I'm still keeping viewcalgaryareahomes.com, but I've also got robvanoteam.ca. So if you want to visit this site, it's absolutely fantastic for searching for homes. Anyway, let's dive right into what's going on here in the month of March. In March of 22, we had 4,091 sales in the Calgary area, and this year 2,432. And you might think to yourself, wow, that's a significant drop, which it is, but I want to put it in perspective. 4,000 was an absolute record in Calgary. We've never seen that before. And I can also tell you that 2,432 is above normal. Normally we do around 2,200, but I can tell you the biggest reason that we're not doing as many sales is not because we don't have the demand, it's because we don't have the inventory. If you take a look, new listings in March were 3,318. That's 49% less inventory that hit the market than a year ago. That's if we could get that inventory back, I'm telling you, we'd probably be at 3,500 sales. We're at 33 as of the end of March. So the whole total inventory, is 26% down, but new inventory to be 40% down, that's really significant. I mean, if you look at the year to date, they had 12,617 listings we had by the end of March last year. We're at 7,557 in total for listings. So we really do have a problem right now, and it's really easy to understand. We have a huge net migration of people coming to Alberta right now, and especially coming to Calgary. I have somebody that works with me who used to live in Ukraine and speaks Russian, very involved in the Russian community and what's happening in Ukraine. And he was telling me 26,000 Ukrainians have moved to Calgary, not Alberta, but just to Calgary in the last 12 months. We usually have a regular population of people who come from India and Pakistan. Typically, we have around 5,000 to 10,000 immigrants come from those countries every year. So we're going to have that to contend with, not to mention the interprovincial migration of people coming. So people moving here from Edmonton, people moving here from Saskatchewan, people moving here from Ontario is still happening. So if you put all that together, we have a tremendous amount of migration of people coming for a couple of reasons. Jobs are here, and our pricing for real estate is still fairly reasonable when you consider the other big markets like Toronto, Vancouver, where everything is quite expensive. So with this kind of demand and this kind of pressure on inventory, you can see that we're seeing our sales price to list price at 99.43%, especially in the lower priced real estate of say 400,000 for houses to 600,000. That's kind of the sweet spot, which we'll go over in a minute. That's where we're seeing the biggest demand, and we're seeing a lot of multiple offers. We're also seeing a lot of multiple offers in even in the condo market too. But overall, to see 99.43%, a year ago was 101.78. So there was a lot of people that thought that the interest rates going up would bring down prices, and it's not happening in Calgary. We're seeing similar, not as robust as a year ago when the interest rates were quite low, but we're still seeing almost 100% sale price to list price, with many of them going over the asking price. So if you look at this chart right here, you'll see that in blue, this is our inventory levels. And if you go back all the way to 2008, you can see that we're amongst the lowest of inventory that we've had, other than way back in early 2014. There was a little bit of a brief moment in the beginning of 2022, but this is a continued issue that we're going to have with a very low month supply of real estate. Like, we're down at 1.8 months of supply. So this is what we're going to be contending with probably for the next 6 months. So you'll notice that in red where it's got the benchmark price change, and yes, we're not seeing at this moment, we haven't seen like major price increases, like we did in 2022. But I really think that if this inventory stays low like this and the demand stays high and we're still seeing these multiple offers, I think you're going to see the benchmark price of real estate move fairly significantly in Calgary. Very well, the way it's looking, we could see the benchmark price go up anywhere from 5 to 7% this year, which is surprising. I think it even is surprising a lot of people, and this is, I guess, why even the experts can't predict markets. All right, let's look at another chart here. This is my favorite chart. So you can see there's the absorption rate. So 74% of the detached houses, that's what we're looking at here, detached houses, are the ones that sold. So only 25% did not. And you can see our benchmark price on detached is now at $649,000. That is up 1.8% year over year. It's also up 2.19% from February 2023. So that's happening. And if that happens in the detached sector, then we could be looking at, for detached houses, we could be seeing the benchmark price rise between 7 and 10%, maybe 12% this year. So keep that in mind if you're looking at selling. This is really a good time. The demand is really there. Some might say, well, maybe I should wait and let the market go up more. Sure, that's an option to consider if you're trying to time the market. But always remember, these things are unpredictable. We only can comment on what's going on right now. Things can change, and I've seen a lot of people try to predict markets 6 months from now, and they were wrong. So you never know if there's something that could happen globally or something that could happen with oil prices. There's always a little uncertainty when it comes to these markets. So don't put all your eggs in the I'll wait 6 months or 8 months basket hoping it's going to be better. But if it does continue the way it is going right now, it will be higher prices for sure. Let's look down here at the hard numbers. So 1,145 out of 1,546 have sold. So that's a really strong market, and you can see that's up from February, where we had 794. Our listing inventory in detached went up a little bit, but you can see the demand of people wanting to buy and the amount of inventory that went up, it just really isn't the right ratio. And average days on market is 25, but that's not even a really accurate thing, because when a property goes conditionally sold, it stays on the market until it becomes a firm sale. So like if you get 2 weeks for conditions, that's calculated in these stats as average days on market. You could get an offer or be under contract within 3 days of it being listed, and then 2 weeks for conditions, and then it would show 17 days on the market. But really, in fact, it was only 3 days on the market. So here's our market distribution, and you can see 500 to 600,000 is 24.36% of the market, and that's really the most challenging market. We have some buyers right now that we're working with that are trying to buy in 5 to 600, and it's not been easy. It's hard to find these houses, and you can pretty much almost guarantee that if it's a good house and it's priced right, that you're going to be competing with other buyers to get your offer in, and you're going to be having to look at an offer more than the ask price. So I'm going to throw this out to you. If you're thinking of buying a house or whether you're selling a house in this kind of market, there is a tremendous amount of skill and strategy that can go into multiple offer situations. And if you want to learn more about that, please reach out to me. I have a lot of experience on this. I have been through seller markets now. This is the 3rd time in my career, and well, I guess the 4th time if you consider last year. And so I've learned a thing or two on how to work with buyers in that environment and get your offer accepted. And I've learned a thing or two on working with sellers as well. So just reach out to me. Anyway, 600 to 700,000 is becoming a close second to the highest demand for real estate in the detached sector. And 400 to 500 is becoming a thing of the past as these prices keep rising. I mean, if it really does keep going the way it's going, this is only going to be probably 12% of the market, 400 to 500, because it's going to be just harder and harder to find anything in that price range. And interestingly enough, look at this million to $1.5 million, 6.88% of the market. That usually hovers around 5%. So we have a lot of people that are buying luxury homes in Calgary, and there seems to be a real confidence in that market of $1 million to $1.5 million. That's pretty significant. That 172 properties have sold this year between $1 million and $1.5 million. All right, let's look at the next section. This is semi-detached. So these are attached properties that don't have condo fees. And look at that, 76.14% of the properties listed sold. That is really a strong market. 581, 300 is the benchmark price. By the way, remember, benchmark is a typical property. That's what we call benchmark. It's just a typical property that in a semi-detached. So 2.32% rise in prices in the last month, 1.55% since March of last year. And if we go down here, 217 out of 285 sold. So that's another really healthy market. Only 140 last month, and we had 255 listed. We only got 30 more listings, yet we went up to 217 in sales. Those ratios are not good. 29 days on the market, and here's our market distribution, and you can see, it's a close tie now from 400 to 500 and 500 to 600. That's incredible to see that. I mean, by the way it's looking, 500 to 600 is going to take its place, and so there's a pretty good demand for semi-detached properties. I know it's always people's first choice to not buy a condo. They would rather have no condo fees in a perfect world. But look at here, the 700 to 800. These would be what we would call luxury infill semi-detached. Pretty good demand there to see that many that have sold. 11.22% or 32%. And 800 to 900 is 12.18%. So there's a lot of people that are buying these under 900,000. So it's really good to see. Even to see that we had some between $1 million, $1.5 million those are pretty good numbers. All right, let's look at row houses. And row houses, you can see this has been absolutely crazy. I have never in my 23 years of doing this business have ever seen this happen before in row houses or townhouses, if you want to call them. These are condos, but they're typical townhouses where you got a little backyard maybe or something like that, or you walk up to your own front door. They're not apartment condos, and there's just all of a sudden there's this massive demand for them. 96.28%. Like we just sold all of the inventory that's coming on the market. This is crazy. And the prices were up 7.54% on a benchmark. That's big. Usually you only see something like that in maybe one particular neighborhood, but to see it right across the city, that's insane. 2.27% just from February. So this market is on fire. There's just such a demand for this kind of property right now. 388 out of 403 to sell. And that's what's sad is we have 388 properties that have sold out of 403 listings. Last month we had 327. So it's the same thing. We just don't have enough of these properties listed to meet the demand. I know there was one that I sold, just a relatively inexpensive one. We put it on the market for $250,000, and we had 6 offers within 8 hours of it being listed. It was crazy. When I put it on the market in the morning, the seller was gone the whole day. We had just had showings immediately all day. It was just insane. 21 days on average on the market, and you can see the sweet spot really is $300,000 to $400,000. So I guess maybe from a financial standpoint it makes sense, because that's very affordable, even with interest rates hovering around 5% on a fixed mortgage. it makes it very affordable for people to get in that $300,000 to $400,000 price range. But I do know we still have a tremendous amount of investors that are buying these too. Like, it's incredible how many people we're getting calling us from Ontario that they don't even come out here. They just want to buy 1 or 2 or 3 of them so they can rent them out and keep them as a rental property. And so that's another part of why this demand has been here. All right, here's apartment condos, and wow, I mean, who'd have thought? Now we're at 68%. It's crazy, because it was 2 years ago we had trouble selling condos. It was 15, 16, 17% absorption rate. Now we're at 68.2%. That's really remarkable to see that, and our benchmark price is up to $293,500. To put that into perspective, if you go to 2015, that was the peak. That was where we really peaked out in condos, and we've surpassed that. And you can look, there's the dark years, if you want to call it that, 2016 all the way to 2022, where people bought and they were, all their condos were worth less than they paid. Sadly, there are still people that bought condos in 2015, and the market is still not back up to what they paid for it. But for the vast majority of people, it's taken all the way from 2015 to today just to get back what you paid for it all those years ago. And that's sad. I mean, that's not how real estate's supposed to go. You're supposed to buy real estate, it's supposed to go up, right? And it's not supposed to take 8 years just to break even, but that's just unfortunately what happened in our condo market in Calgary. But now there's a real demand again, and it's because, as I mentioned earlier, we just have such an incredible amount of people that are moving here, and it's affordable to get into these condos. And the rent prices have gone up so much that it's still better to own than rent. 682 out of 1,000. So if we look at the prices, when you look at month to month, we're up tremendously from February to February. So I'm not really understanding this year to year down 14% for March over in 2022. That's not really what's happened, but so I'm not really sure what is going on with that stat right there. But anyway, 682 sold out of 1,000. We only added 125 listings, and yet we went from 491 to 682. So those are not good numbers either. And you can see the sweet spot here is $200,000 to $300,000. So that's really where most of these condos are. But it's good to see that the $300,000 to $400,000 condos have also made a significant increase. But you can see we're still not a big luxury condo town. Anything over 4 is a struggle. And that's why I did an evaluation recently on one where the gentleman paid $579,000 for it back in 2015, and today it's still only worth $450 because we don't have the demand here pushing the prices up if your condo is in the 400 to 500. So if you're in this price range, you still might not be doing all that well. So I'll leave you with this thought. For those of you that are considering selling, by the way, I put out a book last year, and this book really applies for the market that we're in. It's called Selling Secrets You Can't Afford to Miss. I put some great information in there. So if you would like to get a copy of my book, I can send it to you digitally, or I can send you a hard copy if you want to sit in front of your fireplace and read it, then you're welcome to do so. But I think you'll find some really good information in there. And as always, I don't mind giving information as to what is happening for your particular situation, and some advice on where you should be listing, or what your strategy should be if you go on the market in this particular environment that you're in. And believe me when I tell you, you need a strategy if you really want to maximize your sale price. Too many people often think that the market's so good I can just throw it out there and and everything magically happens. No, it does magically happen, but there's actually strategy to increase the magic, is what I'm saying. That's what I would be able to give you advice on. I also quite excited to offer this as well. This is the newest book I put out, and it's called Find the Home of Your Dreams Without Overpaying. And I just put this out 3 weeks ago, and I'm quite proud of this one. If you're buying a property, I really think this is a must read, because I've put my 23 years of experience into helping over 1,000 people buy real estate in Calgary. So I think there's some real good pieces of information in here that can be really helpful to prepare you for what you're about to do. And at the same time, don't hesitate to reach out to me with questions on buying and timing the market. So hopefully this all that was helpful. I know it's a long video, but hopefully it's been very helpful, and I'll look forward to seeing you all next month.